This lesson, we're going to look a little more specifically at proportions and a few more like word problems. So we're going to start with a little bit of shapes. We're going to look at similar figures. So a similar figure is two or more of the same shape, but they're different sizes. So here's two triangles. We see that the one on the left, triangle ABC, is a little larger than DEF, but they're proportional. So we can say that triangle ABC is similar. This is the sign for similar to triangle DEF. In similar figures, all of the angles in the sides are corresponding. So we have angle A corresponds to angle D. They're in the same location of the triangle. Angle B corresponds to E, and then angle C and angle F correspond. And it's really important to know that in similar figures, every single corresponding angle is congruent, which means they're equal. So angle A and angle D are the exact same size. Even though this triangle is a little smaller, their angle measurements are the same size. The side lengths are still going to correspond to one another, but that's where our ratio will come into play. So our corresponding angles are congruent and our sides correspond to one another. They're just not congruent. So for an example, AB corresponds to side DE in our triangle. Oops, sorry, you can't see that. So AB corresponds to DE. So we're going to solve some questions. I redrew the triangles. Here's all of our corresponding sides. So AB, gosh darn it, AB, DE, BC, and EF, and then AC and DF. And I just put all of those on in fractions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and plug the side lengths in. So side AB is 2, side DE is 1. So I get 2 over 1. BC is 4 and EF is 2, and then AC and DF has a proportion like this. If you were to simplify every single one of these fractions, obviously 2 over 1 doesn't simplify. 4 over 2 is the same as 2 over 1, and so is 5 over 2.5. So we call that 2 to 1 ratio our scale factor, and that tells us how much bigger or smaller is one triangle from the other. It's another, you can also think of it as the ratio of the side lengths. So in our next example, I drew two quadrilaterals. And I tell you that PQRS is is similar to WXYZ. So we need to figure out what is my measure of angle Q and what is my angle W. Well, knowing that these are similar, remember we said corresponding angles are always congruent. So angle Q corresponds to angle X. That means that angle Q is going to be 80 degrees. Okay, I want you guys to find the measure of angle W. So here's W. Find what does it correspond to, and then give me the angle measurement. Okay, next we're going to find the scale factor of this quadrilateral compared to our second quadrilateral. So if you find side lengths, in order to find our scale factor, we have to look at side lengths. Here, 6 and B go together. That's a B. A and 5 go together, and then 3 and 2. The only two side lengths that have both numbers would be these last two. So PS compared to WZ is 3 to 2. So our scale factor for these two quadrilaterals is 3 over 2. Keeping that in mind, we're going to now solve for A and B. So we have to use, and you'd have to use your picture because I didn't redraw it, but we're going to find A first. So we have to use our scale factor. So our scale factor was 3 over 2. And then we use the side length that we're looking for and its corresponding side. So we're going to solve for A first. So here is A. Its corresponding side length is 5. Okay. The 3 and the A are in the same quadrilateral, so they have to go on the same side of our fraction. So 3 over 2 is our scale factor, A over 5 our corresponding side. So now I can cross multiply 3 times 5, and then divide by 2. So we get that A is 7.5 units long. Similarly, we can find B. So we look back at our picture. We're still going to have to use our scale factor, 3 to 2. B corresponds with 6. So my 3 and my 6 will go on the top of my fraction. The 2 and the B will go on the bottom of the fractions. Looks like this. 3 over 2 equals 6 over B. So 3B equals 6 times 2, which gives us B equaling 4 units long. Using that knowledge, I'd like you to find X. These two triangles are similar, so you can write a proportion to help you solve.